Is it me that they speak upon? Niggas wanna creep up on, respect for me absent, won't hesitate to sleep me on my lawn. Georgia Road Mo, real ones know, Eastside Mo, back with this Errol Spence versus Danny Garcia. Quick recap. As you all know by now, Errol Spence got the win by unanimous decision. Basically dominated the fight, first fight back after the car accident. He controlled the fight with that jab all night. Started working on the body. He really gave Danny a boxing lesson. And Danny is a good fighter, but he's a little bit too flat-footed. He doesn't have enough output, punch output, a little bit too slow for Errol. It was a wash. It was pretty much, I think this was the best chance that Danny would have had to beat somebody like Errol. Fresh off of the car accident with a lot of questions. We don't know what he could take, pause, or how he will return back. But he came back and he looked real good out there. He's starting to look like how Floyd did when Floyd would fight guys who were upper echelon fighters. He would just make the fight look easy. Kind of punished him. He beat all on his body, paws, kept hitting with that jab. He was moving. Danny couldn't really touch him. He just gave him a boxing lesson. I think for Danny, I don't think Danny could beat any of the elite 147 pounders. I think the ones that he fought so far, I think he had close fights with them. Keith Thurman and Sean Porter. He had a good fight with those two, and those were the two ones that he probably could have beat. That were the upper echelon. That he had a better chance. I don't think he could do anything with Terrence Crawford. Let me take that back. I won't say, because I don't know who all we consider upper echelon at the 147 division. But I think Danny, he may need to pick his fights a little bit more strategically. He may have to, because he's challenged himself. He fought guys who were more agile than him, guys who moved a lot more than he did. He may have to start taking a page out of Canelo's book and pick and choose his fights with guys. Pick the right opponents. Go to 154. Pick the right opponent. Find the right guys with the belts that he could, that matches up with his style well. If he can make 140, I would say if he can make 140, I think he can go back down to 140 and do damage. As for the elite guys, I don't want to see Danny becoming like this gatekeeper, or so to speak. And he's a good name with a hell of a resume, because he probably has the best resume right now in the 147 division. I don't want him to become this gatekeeper, because that'll bring his legacy down. I think he's a Hall of Fame fighter right now. With the resume that he has, the fights that he's won, he's a Hall of Fame fighter. So I don't want to see him against Boots Ennis, and Boots, that'll be his step up fighting. It's a bad matchup for Danny. He's bigger than Danny. He's a better fighter than Danny. Has power, better boxer, I should say, skill wise. I don't want to see that for Danny. I don't want to see him going against Terrence Crawford, even though, and I'm gonna make another video about this. Terrence Crawford, we haven't seen him against anyone to the caliber of Danny. I don't want to see him against a Terrence Crawford, and that be Terrence Crawford's legitimizing fight. So I think they should pick those fights smarter. I think Sergey Lipinets, I think he could beat him. Virgil Ortiz, if he gets a belt or some pieces, so many belts, he can get a piece of the belt. I think Danny could beat him. So he just got to be a little bit more strategic. But as for Errol Spence, Errol is he's back. He showed out, excellent boxing performance. He came out and did what he had to do. And one thing about that performance from Errol, I noticed around the fourth or fifth round, I think he went back to the corner. He was asking, "What round is it? What round is it?" And I could see that he kind of looked tired. But he went back out and he continued to fight. And he didn't fight like he was tired. You could start seeing around the 8th, 9th round. Because I think I scored the fight 10-2, and I gave Danny like maybe the 8th and the 9th, or the 9th and the 10th. And Errol seemed tired. I think he got tired around after that 4th round. And he started, he asked what round was it. But he still was, I think he was, counting the rounds in his head to see when he could take a break. He went out there and still fought and kept the game plan and kept putting the punches out, going to the body, working the jab and moving. Even though he had got to a point he was kind of tired, so and he had a little ring rust, but he still came out and showed his ass. Pause. So I gotta say, Errol, I gotta give him an A minus for the performance he did. He said he gave himself like a B. I gotta give him an A because of the circumstances surrounding it, and just the performance was a hell of a performance altogether. But that's it for this video. Errol the True Spence Jr. back. All the questions been answered. Looking forward to see what's next for him and what's next for this 147 division. Georgia Road Mo, gone.
It's never enough. Who want it with us? We tough as elephant tusks. Came from the mud. You want it, gotta take it in blood. All about $1. Never claim to be thug. All we ask is trust.